We are all pieces of a big puzzle, but we are not all the same. We have different needs and contribute with what is unique to ourselves. We are different, but still, we share common ground and values. Some of us do not follow the norm. Some of us are a little more different, a different breed. We need things to be in a certain way and shape those things to help us express ourselves without obstructions, without disturbing. An open pathway to creativity and expression.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening. Hope everyone is doing fine. Well, I am today on FujiFilm X India's YouTube channel. It's kind of a takeover, as they speak, in the internet world. And my name is Radhakrishnan, of course. To people whom I am not familiar, my face is not familiar. I am Radhakrishnan. I am a YouTuber. I run a YouTube. I'm also a host of a YouTube channel called Pixel Village, where we talk about photography and everything related to photography, including tutorials and product reviews and things like that. And the reason why I am saying all these things about myself on another channel is that I am the only one who needs an introduction today. In fact, I'm going to be talking to an amazingly talented and popular photographer who requires no introduction. I am the one who requires the introduction today. The host, the guest, doesn't require an introduction today. He is well. I'm going to bring him onto the screen in a bit. But in the meantime, let me quickly see how many familiar faces are here waiting. So let me go up and start from the top. Oh my God! Oh, there are tons of people waiting. Thank you very much, people, for tuning in. I hope you can hear me very well. Yeah, there are lots of fans of our guests today. Vinod Tekkadavan, Vinod. Then there is Shikan Online. There is JD Thakkar, Harshendra Bias. We have Akhil Jadhav, Fitness Freak. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Oh my God, there are tons of people already here. I'm sure you are, big photography enthusiast, photographers yourself, and, a big fan of our, guest today. I actually, are you any Mallus other than Radhakrishnan, sir? I have no idea, my friend. If you are one, namaskaram. Okay. And FujiFilm, hello, good evening. Okay, so like I said, I am today on FujiFilm's YouTube channel. It's a takeover. I am asked to host this evening, asked to be the host this evening, and we have lots of FujiFilm officials and technicians sitting on the bench alongside watching the proceedings of this evening. So anyone at any time have any doubt about, any technical doubt, things about availability of products, etc., you can actually ask in the chat, and someone will definitely get in touch with you. So, we are going to be talking to an amazing photographer today. Why am I taking a little bit of time? Because he's so busy. I mean, he was shooting this evening. He was actually shooting. He just came in, and he's come into the front. He's gone to, just get some stuff in, and he will join us very soon. In the meantime, let's have a small interaction. So we have camera experts. We have Ratilal Rajpati, fitness freaks again, Vinod. Then we have Kanti. We have Amy. Amy is an actor. I have a YouTube channel. Wonderful, Amy. All the best to you. I am an upcoming photographer, and my friend too, Ishan. All the best to you and your friend. Wonderful. I mean, it's a great career. So yeah, all the best to you. And then you have new photographer enthusiast, but wait, who doesn't know? Yes, oops, I'm not going to be talking about the guest today. All right, wonderful. Okay, so I am ready to bring the guest on. Like I said, I'm the one who requires an introduction today, not today's guest. With more than 2 million Facebook followers and close to 2 million Insta followers, I think he's more popular than probably our Prime Minister today. He is the one and only, the most amazing ace. Well, I'm running out of adjective. Celebrity photographer and fashion photographer, and Fuji ambassador, Dabboo Ratnani. Hi,
Hello.
Dabboo. Welcome to FujiFilm today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well. Hey, you're welcome. I mean, in fact, we are so excited to, I mean, in the last 1 week, ever since we scheduled it, everyone was so excited to, talk to you, bring to you on a platform like this and share with, share, have a small conversation in front of your fans. And they are in big numbers today.
Thank you so much.
They already started questions already. Yeah. So, Dabboo, hope you're doing well. And
Yeah,
I understand that you were shooting. Were you shooting? You were probably very busy.
I was shooting till late last night, actually. So, so then that some of the works, which I had planned for last evening, went on today. So I was out today. So just got back in time to be here now. Yeah.
Thank you very much. While majority of photographers are currently complaining about lack of work, here is one man working even in the night. Wonderful. Let's. I mean, by the way, first let me thank you on behalf of Fuji India for agreeing to talk to us. It's a great honor for me as an individual and a fellow photographer to be talking to you on a platform like Fuji.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for that. Do that too. And well, there are tons of questions have started flowing in already. So I request everyone To hold on to those questions, we will have a Q&A at the end of the session. Okay, so hold on. Don't spend all your questions now, because once it gets buried under the the what do you call all these questions, then it'll be very difficult to pull it out from there. So hold on, remember those questions, write it down or somewhere, and ask those questions towards the end. Okay, so otherwise we will miss it. Okay, we don't want to miss it. All right.
All the lovely comments also. I'll say hi to everybody. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And like Radha sir said, keep your questions ready. Towards the end, we'll answer all your questions. And we'll show you some of my work as well, if we get the time today. And yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what I was about to say. So people, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about things that you want to. You've been seeing his work, right? I mean, I don't need to talk about his work. You've been watching it. You've been seeing it. That's why he's got 2 million plus followers everywhere. We're going to talk about how he started, what are his inspirations, and all those things that you always wanted to know. So that's what we will start with. Straight to because we don't have too much time with him, so we're going to dive straight into the question. So Dabboo, once again, welcome to this evening's conversation. And did you always wanted to be a photographer? That's what you knew it.
I started quite young. I mean, since school days, I used to enjoy gadgets. To be honest, I was not sure if I want to do photography, but I was into gadgets for sure, and I used to experiment with whatever gadgets I used to find. So my dad had 2-3 cameras with 110 format and Electro 35 Yashica. So I just found it, and it started. I started carrying it for my school picnics and my family holidays and stuff like that. At that point, I was not. I had no inclination towards becoming a professional photographer. This happened more towards my 11th standard, where I, those were a few years I had spent with the basic cameras, and I started shooting like some sunsets, sunrises, and it was growing as a passion for me. And during my 11th standard, I actually shot an audio visual for my college project. I borrowed a SLR camera, a film SLR camera, and I shot for my an audio visual for a fashion show in college. And that's where people started saying, wow. And for us it was basic at that point, but the reactions that I was getting from the college gang and everybody was like, wow, we've never looked like this, so it gave me a lot of energy to kind of pursue it. And then I actually invested in my first SLR camera, which was out of a loan which I took from my aunt. Actually, we were from a middle class family, and we didn't, no one from the family business. I mean, nobody from the family was in any kind of creative business. So for them, it was like spending 5,000 rupees in those days also was like a huge amount of money. They said that no, I'm not going to give you. So my mom actually, it was a trick thing. My mom actually lent me the money through my aunt. So I realized the value that I have to pay it back to her. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So much later I got to know it was mom who had given me the money, but as a loan through my aunt, because if mom would have given it, I would have not paid her back. If my aunt gives it, I have to return it. So that's where it all started, but one thing it definitely taught me is the value of money from that age, that even if I'm borrowing 5,000 rupees, I started shooting like portfolios of my college friends, and we used to shoot film those days. So I used to just charge them the cost of processing and cost of printing, and used to make 200, 300, 500 rupees extra that I used to pay back as my loan to my aunt. So that's where the whole journey started, and I started enjoying it very much. Then the college, even 12th grade, I did an audiovisual for the inter-college fashion show, and that's when I was getting obsessed with it, And then Sumit Chopra, who's my ex-boss and a good friend of mine, was my brother's friend, and I went and met him. And I said, Sumit, I'm getting really interested, and I can't afford it. Sumit had done Brooks Institute of Photography.
Oh
had come
yes,
from
I
Santa
remember.
Barbara. Yeah, so I couldn't even think of going abroad to study. So I said
They
that
were they were known as brookies in those days, right? I
yeah,
mean, there were like a half a dozen brookies in
yeah,
Mumbai
yeah.
on the during those
There were
times. Yes,
Sumit, Atul, Appu
yes,
Sistan, a few photographers who had come from
yes, yes,
Brooks.
yes.
And so I said, I told Sumit that, I'm really interested. Then he explained to me uh, very realistic picture of the industry. He said that, don't think that it's all glamour. It's all just, it's not, it's a lot of hard work like any other profession. And he said, I'm not trying to scare you, but you must know the real scene before entering it. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
competition. There is, and it's a lot of hard work that you need to put into. Sometimes you start work early morning, it goes on to late night. So I said, I'm ready for it. But I must tell you, rather, when I walked into that studio of Sumit's, now, I mean, here we were
uh-huh.
doing college pictures and fun pictures, and I walked into this picture and saw these huge blow ups and these shots that he had done in
Yeah,
LA and Santa Barbara, and saw the
yeah.
and I'm getting goosebumps thinking of it even right now. That I looked at those pictures and I said, how will I ever reach this kind of clarity, this kind of sharpness? I
Absolutely.
mean, my first camera was a Minolta SRT 101. I clearly remember, and that
Okay.
used to not give me anything close to this what I was seeing over there. So I was saying that this
Yeah,
is insane. I mean, how am I going to achieve this quality of pictures? I was very
yeah.
scared. And then listening to Sumit's conversation, also, I was like, but I said, I'm ready to do it. And then I spoke to my parents, and
Mm.
I had 3 years of senior college left, which was my BCom. And I said, I'll do correspondence, and those 3 years I'll assist Sumit. And, then by the time I'm 16, I'm just 16. So by the time I'm 19 or 20, I'll know whether I want to join dad's business or I want to, continue photography. So
Continue full-time photography.
yeah, and that's I promised Sumit that I'll be with him for 3 years, and instead of three, I stayed with him for 4 because I enjoyed it and loved it so much. And
Yeah. This is when early 90s, like 1991,
19, yeah,
92,
1990 March.
1990.
Yeah, my
Oh, is
12th
this
exams are
exactly the
over.
yeah,
Yeah, my
yeah. So
12th
it's
exams
exactly
were
the
over, and
time.
next morning I started assisting him.
Yeah, this is exactly the time. Around the same time, I also came to Mumbai to be a photographer, and I actually remember seeing you in Mithurvedi. In
Oh
those were the film days, and we had to order, prints. Our bosses would send us to, get prints and stuff. And Mithurvedi was one such stop where the entire photography fraternity in Mumbai would go and make prints. And of
absolutely.
course, Mithurvedi is an institution. I mean, it requires another session altogether, probably more than that to talk about him. We'll keep it
Absolutely.
for another session.
Right.
So that's where I meet, Dabboo for the first time, and he was already popular. Let me tell you, he was even at 90. So I remember very vividly. I used to work with Rafiq Ilyas as his
Okay.
assistant, and whenever I would go to take prints, and there are a few occasions where I have seen you. You've come, you're discussing with Preeti, I think, about prints, and I am just standing by and watching. And the other assistant who's along with me will tell you, you know who that is? That's Dabboo. That's Dabboo. Acha, Dabboo. Because by then you had already started
So
publishing your work.
So Sumit used to not shoot on weekends, So I used
Yeah,
to whatever I used to learn on the week, on Saturday, Sunday, I used to practice that. I used to kind of
wonderful.
whatever the week summary used to be, whatever new things I had, I used to write them down. And those days we didn't even have the internet, So it was either
Yeah.
learning at Sumit or reading books. That's all I used to
Yes,
do for
yes.
those 3 years.
Yeah. Oh,
4 years.
wonderful. And that's where I met, and then like I used to, it's a very very popular term in Mumbai. नहीं वो बहुत healthy है. So you used to be much more healthier than you are now.
Lost about
And
20-25 kilos since that time. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. So then of course then you branched out, and for to quickly see everybody, I mean, of course you realized when you are in 11th, and then so if you really want to get something or pursue something, things start happening around you, right? I mean, like your own mother she's actually the angel, right? Who came and gave you that money through somebody, and then in the form of a friend, Sumit came. Lots of people came. The books came. So, but which was the first break that you kind of you can say launched you?
Yeah. So while I was with Sumit in 1993, my friend Sanjay Gupta was making Aatish, and he was going to Mauritius for a 40-day schedule. Aatish was a movie which had Sanjay Dutt and Karisma Kapoor, Raveena Tandon, Atul Agnihotri, a huge star cast. So he was going to Mauritius for 40 days for a schedule, and I said, I used to call him Goops. He's a friend of ours. So I said, Goops, you're going for 40 days. For me, it'll be a great, learning. If I can come with you all, I'll shoot the campaign for you. And you can speak to the producer to just take care of my travel boarding and the cost of film and processing. I don't want any money. For me, just it'll be a great experience. So he said, great idea. Let me talk to him. So he organized a meeting with Vijay Sippi, who was the producer. And I convinced him, and I said, sir, I'll be there for the whole movie. Whatever 40 days I'll shoot for you, and just I'll need to carry about 200 rolls of film and
200 rolls. Wow.
So because it's 40 days, so I said I'll carry some. So in those days, you have to also carry ISO 400, ISO 3200 as per the situations. So So I carried enough film. I carried some black and whites to shoot my personal stuff as well, and then we left for Mauritius. So that was my big break. 93 we shot this, and while we were shooting there, in fact, Sanju got arrested as soon as he came back from Mauritius, and that film got released in 94. And once those pictures came out in billboards and magazines, people started inquiring, who's Dabboo Ratnani? Who's this new photographer? And that's when I asked Sumit if I can branch out. And
I still remember, it is that tan face of Sanjay Dutt with that sunglass on, with, sweat all over his face. Oh, that's an iconic image. I mean, if I have to pick one Bollywood iconic image, that's one of them. I mean, in the newer era, I'm talking about the modern, post 80s, after the so-called resurrection of the Bollywood.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was like for me, that was a changing point where everything started moving, work started coming, other producers started calling me to shoot their campaigns. So, and while I was shooting in Mauritius, Bazigar had come to shoot for a song there. And I knew Shah Rukh at that point, and Saroj Khanji, who just recently passed away, she was choreographing the song for Aatish and then for Shah Rukh for Bazigar. And I had never met Kajol, and I wanted to meet Kajol and I wanted to do pictures of her because I thought she had an amazing face and very expressive. So I told Sarojji I'll stay back for that also. So I stayed back an extra week to shoot Bazigar as well. And I shot some pictures of Shah Rukh and Kajol as well for Bazigar.
Which, of course, was another huge hit success.
Huge hit. So one thing led to the other, and I think when we all the people listening out there also, it's all about networking. It's about putting your good work out there, and once you get, and it got noticed, for me at that point, I had no idea that this is where my life will change. This is what will get me more work. I gave it my 100%. And then it just worked for me. One thing led to the other.
Yeah. So to people who are watching this and wanting to be like him, please remember, he says, I knew, I knew Shah Rukh Khan or I knew the director. That's not that easy. If you look around, you also know a couple of people, but how many pictures have you taken? So there is an old saying which says, if you, don't complain because you did not take that picture. All right. You will say, I could have taken it better.
Adding to that, Radha, is that, that you have to, so I'll give an example. Like even today, when I go out to say a restaurant to eat food and I like the place for a shoot, I will make the move to find out who owns a restaurant,
exactly,
who's the manager, who's this. Similarly, I did my networking. When I met Shah Rukh, he was just a boy who had come from Delhi, and He was not even an actor, So I would one point I must tell everybody also is that whether it's a big star or a small star, whether it's a model or a newcomer, I treat everybody with equal respect, and that's what I get back. So today, when Sanjay Gupta was making a movie, it was his debut film. Nobody knew him. He was just a friend. Shah Rukh was someone who had not stepped into the industry, so we connected. It's important to network. It's important to be good to people. It's important to, not treat a big star, like a big star, and treat a small star or a newcomer just like anybody. I feel that, being equal to everybody has really paid me. And I'm not just saying it. Even today, when I go for a shoot, I go with an attitude that it's my first day at work. I'm still as hungry. I'm still as out there to prove myself. For me, I've not reached my peak. For me, I want to keep improving, keep learning, keep experimenting. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this is why someone must definitely listen to conversation like this. When you look at somebody's Instagram or Facebook, you don't get to hear the philosophy behind his whole working or his practices and the way he thinks. And these are the things that you will learn when you work under a photographer. We all assume, including me, you think that, if you get a good camera, good everything, and, you start because these days almost any camera can take, well-exposed pictures on the first instance itself. But that dedication, there is no substitute to that. Did he find all his friends waiting around to get him an opportunity? No. He found them. Why? Because he wanted it. Like he's saying, even now when he goes to a restaurant, he likes the ambience place. He sees a shot happening there. He actually goes and makes friends with the owner of the place, and he networks. He may not shoot for the next 6 months, but then suddenly something happens, and he knows where to go and take that shot. So you must remember, these are learnings that you will not find in any technical manuals. Okay, so I'll
just add to that point. I've never been to a photography school. So today also, whatever I'm going to speak may not be technically sound or maybe not very teacher-like, because I've not learned from a teacher. I've learned on the job. I've learned from what I've observed. I've learned from my experience. So whatever I'm sharing today is purely my experience of 25 years in this industry. And it may not be technically right. It may not be, like many times when I used to do photography workshops, people used to ask me very, very technical questions or something about a lighting technique or about this is called, So at one point, somebody asked me about butterfly lighting. And I did that lighting, but I didn't know it's called butterfly.
Yeah.
So,
same here.
Yeah. So to be honest, trying to, rather than learn theory, it's better. I see more from my vision. I see what I visualize. I think the story in the picture is more important than just learning the technical bit or learning what So it's good to know the rules, but I feel that you should know how to use them or how to bend them or break them also.
Okay. So people, you heard about her story, a little bit of, we have limited times. I would have liked to go on and on because that's exciting for me. But I would like to, request him to show some of his work, so that you can also see, and he will talk about those. Before you actually go in, you last year, you became the Fuji ambassador. And now you own a battery of Fuji cameras and some of the best Fuji gear.
Right.
Would you like to kind of talk about that move, and the decision to endorse a brand?
Yeah. So the Fuji team is here and they would vouch for this. I actually took the camera for I think 4 months before I actually decided to move to it, because
Which one is this?
That time it was the GFX 50.
The GFX 50, which is a
50,
50.
yeah.
It's a larger camera. It's a bigger camera.
So they gave it to me for a few months before I actually decided to come on board. For me, it's not about just coming on board with a brand. For me, when it's an association, I have to vouch for it. It's my 25 years of experience that I'm putting behind the name and endorsing something. So for me, it's very important that I can identify with the brand, I can identify with the camera. Only if the quality is something that I can vouch for, then I go ahead and sign the brand. So for me, I saw the change from the previous brands that I was using. I saw what these raw files were. I saw what all was possible. I did an actual test shoot of 3 different brands of cameras, and I put the raw file with my image retoucher, and I say, okay, tell me what is what, and I saw the big difference. I saw, one thing what I love about the Fuji raw files is that it's very raw. I mean, you can really mold it to what you want. Even if you do a slight adjustment, you can do slight adjustments and keep graduating them. With other raw files, if you do a slight adjustment, they just go too much in one way or the other way. So I felt that as a photographer, if you have a particular look in mind, you have a particular mood that you want, it's very easy to achieve. And I used to use FujiFilm from the film days, so I'm very familiar with the Provias and the
STS and Velvias,
and everything, So for me, it was really, it fit in really beautifully because it was very easy for me to adapt to the Fuji ecosystem. And I always use Capture One, and when the Fujifilm, all the film curves came into the Capture One software, it was like amazing for me. I mean, it was like it was just made. It works beautifully for me also because I use also the XT3 and now XT4. I use the GFX 100. GFX 100 is used when the shoot is more in a planned place where it's more about we have permission of the location, we have the whole setup, then we'll take the GFX 100. If I'm shooting without permission, I'm shooting on the road, I'm shooting on the go, then I'll use the XT3 with a 35mm lens, which is equivalent to like a 50mm. It looks like almost like I look like almost like a tourist and walking and shooting without getting caught by the cops. So
it's very interesting. Somebody like you who shoots commercial work is using an APS-C crop sensor camera, where then because I interact with a lot of photographers, I know for a fact that there is this fixation about full frame. Now you are the one who you can afford and you can get the biggest frame there is. But then why did you choose APS-C? Obviously, you said you've done the qualitative analysis and comparisons. But in the real world, when you do a commercial shoot, how does it, I mean, do you feel at any point that, I wish I had a full frame kind of feel? Did you ever had it?
No, so honestly, I did a test with that also, with the full frame and the APS-C. And when I'm shooting for a magazine, when I'm shooting for a portfolio, or I'm shooting for something which I know is not going to be blown up. For instance, I'll tell you, like the GFX 100 comes in great use when I'm doing a film publicity campaign, where the same picture is used in a full length, in a vertical hoarding, or if it's used, at the theater where you see those large cutouts, you need that vertical, and the same image will suddenly be cropped only to chest and used on the bus, like a bus stop or something like that. So the same image gets used in multiple formats and multiple layouts. So the 100 megapixel is of great use at that point. But for a person who's shooting commercial work, who's shooting magazine work, who's shooting editorials, I mean, it makes absolutely no difference to the quality of the image. I mean, only the enlargement of the lens happens, which you can compensate. Otherwise, I've not seen any,
qualitative loss in the.
I would have not used it otherwise. To put, like I said, to put my name behind it, to kind of because even every picture that goes out, even for a model portfolio from my studio, it has my name on it. So I have to be very, very
Absolutely.
particular. And you won't believe it. I don't even let my assistants choose a portfolio picture. I do it myself. I'm a typical Capricorn in that way. I mean, I really can't trust people easily. Even if they do a selection, I'll go through all the pictures and do a reselection.
Once again.
So, so I go through it. Like I said, I love tech. I love technical stuff. I love tech stuff. And I honestly didn't find any difference between the quality. Like I said, if I need a big sensor, then I have my 100 megapixel to go to. And for the people watching out there, if you can't afford to buy, all these cameras are also available on rental basis. So you can always invest in a APS-C, and only on certain projects where you require that additional large format or a medium format, you can just hire it for that one particular day or two particular days when you have that kind of an assignment.
Mm-hmm. Let's see some images now, and we will continue the conversation about the camera and the gear and all that. Yeah.
So I'm going to just share my screen. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. There it is. Wonderful. Okay, Vidya Balan.
From my 2020 calendar. So, I must say that whenever I go for a shoot, I tend to set up extra lights. I tend to set up, if I know I'm going to just use one light as well, I still set up a soft light or a harder light, a bigger source, smaller source. And sometimes I end up using lights. Sometimes I don't end up. Like for this, I had number of lights set up, but ended up just using a white thermocol sheet, and that's about it. So
just bounce back the morning light.
Bounce back the it was so. I had gone. One thing I must say, I go to a location before the shoot. I went like 2-3 days ago, 2-3 days before the shoot, and I saw it at this hour that I was going to shoot at. I try and go at that same time where the shoot is going to be at this hour. So okay, let's try and go to at this time and see what the light will look like. So I usually use some kind of strobes when I'm shooting, even with natural light. But for this particular shot, it was just natural light. And when we go for a shoot, we are there like 2-3 hours before the actor comes, because whatever testing is to be done, whatever experimenting, which lens, everything needs to be done, should be done before the actor comes or your model comes, because you don't want to waste their time when they are there. And also that when you're using natural light, you're going to have that only few minutes of the perfect lighting. So this was shot actually at about 4:30 in the evening, and at about 5:15 the sun was behind the building and there was no light. So we had to make sure that we were all set and not waste any time when the shot was going on.
Yeah. As a photographer, I have a very, a different question, a non-technical question here.
Yeah.
Vidya Balan is no longer, a very active, top of the line heroine variety anymore, right? She does a lot of character roles. How did you convince her to do a sensuous shot like this? I mean, I'm sure it is not easy to a strong woman like that.
It's a lot to do with a trust, and I feel that she's got an incredible face, and so first time she ever did a sexy picture was with me, because the kind of we wanted it for a calendar. We wanted something sensual, something that will make a difference, where people will say, wow, we never imagined Vidya to like this, to do this, or to look like this. So that was the whole idea. The whole idea is to try something different, try something new for the calendar. So I told her, and my wife Manisha also works with me full-time basis, and she was there in the shoot also. And so she, the first time we shot with Vidya, I says that you really see me like this, you really see me doing a sexy picture. This was way back in 2006. So I said, I really think you have an amazing face and no one's explored that. Let's try something like this. So she said, you sure? I said, you trust me. If the picture doesn't work, I won't use it, And she saw the picture and she was so comfortable and it worked out beautifully. And since then, we've been shooting a lot together. And every time we outdo what we've done before. That's the whole idea about the calendar. Yeah, that the calendar is something that keeps me really charged up. It keeps me really going in terms of, okay, I've done 20 years or 21 years of the calendar. What is expected next year? How should I outdo what I've already done? So that
you start planning for the next year already.
Yeah. So that keeps me really fired up, and I think that's what keeps me going also, and that's what keeps me in the news. That's what keeps the buzz alive. That's what keeps me charged up also. So I think every photographer must do some amount of work for themselves. The whole year we shoot commercial work. Whole year we are shooting stuff for brands, for portfolios, other things. There's a certain amount of work, whether it's an exhibition, whether it's a book, whether it's a diary, calendar, you must do some work for your personal use. This is my art form for me.
We'll move forward.
Yeah. So this is again a part of the calendar. Again, we had a beauty dish, softbox, everything set up. Didn't end up using anything because we just used the direct evening light.
Daylight.
So and I used my longest lens of my Fuji GFX, the 250mm that I had, and got this beautiful, blur background.
This is the large format that you shot, GFX 100.
Medium format. Yeah. Most of my calendar, in fact, is shot on the GFX 100.
GFX 100.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that color, very natural color, and you've not really interfered too much in it.
No, that's what the beauty. When you get these raw files, they're so sharp and so much information in them. There's very little post work that you require, that you need to do in the Fuji files.
Yes. Nice. That's a glamour shot here.
Yeah. So this is for a magazine shoot. Although it was for a magazine, I still used the GFX 100 because it's my weapon of choice. I really love. And this is composed in such a way because it was for a cover of a magazine, so we knew that on the left there will be the cover lines and everything, space so that it's space for the masthead of the magazine to come and stuff. So we have to sometimes plan as per that. It's better to shoot little loose, and then in case the magazine has some lines to put somewhere, so they have that kind of working space. So if you see these blacks also, there's so much detail in the shadow area, in the highlight area. Everything has a lot of detail. I mean, I'll just quickly zoom in so you can see the file. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can see you can even see the net.
There's a lot of movement in the black too, if you shift it up a little.
So if you see this, the black also looks incredible, and a lot of detail in it. And even the silver, everything.
Yeah, even the luminance, the texture and the character of that fabric also has come through very well.
Correct. Again, a part of the calendar series. So
this is Tiger.
This Tiger. So I mean, I kept with the calendar. It's something which you really can do exactly what you want. There's no client. There's no agency. It's just you and the actor, and you have complete creative freedom. So this was I added the light at the back and the flare and
the flare.
All this is done before the actor comes in. So that we are fully ready, and we know that if we have to tweak some lighting, it'll just take 2-3 minutes. So this was shot with a Profoto light, just one head on top. That's it. I mean, there's no just a reflector with a head, no diffusers, nothing. So I wanted that rawness, that hard lighting, so you can see all the shadows under his nose, under his chin. I wanted that rawness to come through. And when you're shooting a body shot, so that the shadows of the abs and everything come perfectly. Also, when he's wearing a white shirt, you see a lot of like a reflection that is happening from the shirt, which is lighting up the darker areas as well.
Wonderful. How much time do they give you? I mean, you know them well. Do they give you a lot of time?
They give me enough time because we shoot the making as well. We shoot the sound bites as well. So a shot shooting time doesn't take more than 10-12 minutes. Then it takes about 10-12 minutes for the behind the scenes and the video bite and everything. So within half an hour, we are all done. But like I said, we are there 2 hours earlier. So the whole shoot will take 3 hours, but out of which the actual shooting time is only 30 minutes.
Wonderful. Here, Sunny Leone.
Sunny Leone. So this is a beauty dish. I use my Broncolor system in this one. And I usually end up using beauty dish is, I think, one of my favorite lights that I use. It's pretty much works for most people, and you can. It's quite close to her in terms of it must be like 2 feet away from her, slightly above the eye level, and above the camera. So it's more about the concept. It's more about I don't like to complicate photography. There are many photographers I've seen that will set up 10, 15 lights, waste time, do this, do that. Try to make things look very, very difficult. So I don't believe in that policy. I believe to keep it simple, to keep it clean. As finally the image is going to speak.
Yeah, I mean the celebrity. There's a celebrity who's going to, it's that personality that you're going to kind of more concentrate about and keep it as simple, uncomplicated as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is shot with the 63 mm on the GFX 100 only. So this we had shot on a cruise ship where it was a pool in the foreground and water, the sea at the background in Bombay itself. And the light was very, very harsh. It was almost top light. So I ended up using one light, which was just, so it's always for an outdoor shoot, it's a great idea to carry battery lights, So I had a battery head with me, a battery monoblock head, which really came to my rescue because trying to get electric connections, and then when you're shooting on a cruise boat, sometimes the power supply is not 220 watts. So voltage is off. So the the battery head came to a great rescue. So always on an outdoor shoot, it's a great idea to have a battery light, So I kept it slightly angular, so it gives me that contrast as well. And it was bright enough to overpower the sunlight as well, so that I could get details in the skyline, in the water as well. So
when again, GFX 100 here.
Yeah, these are all GFX.
With 63, you said.
This is a 63 mm. Again, it's a part of the same series on the cruise ship. This I used the wider lens. I think it was like a 32 mm. But it was the zoom which I had.
Okay. You shot on the same ship.
Same ship, yeah.
Okay.
So this was shot again for the calendar in a
safe.
Safe, yeah. So whole styling, the retro Vespa, and that whole Lambretta.
Yep. Absolutely. Did you shoot this in your studio?
This was shot at Mehboob's studio. He was shooting there, so we went there and did a shoot. And the idea was to keep a red scooter with the red background. Normally, when you're shooting a red prop, you would not usually go for a red background. But I thought tone on tone and play the element of red because of the styling, his jeans, the shoes, everything worked. With that. That's Pariniti.
Yes.
So these are all mostly like one light shots, it's more to do the mood, it's more to, and then when you're a photographer, you're responsible even for making the whole ambience of the shoot. So music makes a big difference. I feel that for me, I play loud music. It's like a party going on over there, So
you play loud music in the shoot.
Yeah. And as per the choice of the model, our first thing I ask them what music you feel like listening to, So, and sometimes when I know them really well, then I know what kind of music they would like, So I'll make the ambience, even the lighting, everything is as per to make the model. Once they feel good about themselves, they automatically start looking good, Again, Kriti Sanan,
nice.
Mostly all single light, you can see the one light pictures. And I use just one silver reflector underneath. Keep it simple. Work more on the mood. Work more on the, And in my head, I knew I want to put this in black and white. So so when we plan a shoot, we get into like the styling, we brainstorm with the makeup people, hairdressers, like even to the detail of the shoe. So like you see the black sole of the shoe and the black leather of the shoe also is coming through against a black background. That's what I love about these raw files. You can really tweak it to what you want. This is a Kiara. This picture, which created quite a controversy.
I know. People are waiting.
I did on the XT3 actually, so that so these are shot on the XT3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so shot on the XT3. And I feel that just using the 35mm, I walked onto the railway tracks without any permission, and I was shooting close by to this location at a tire shop, and one guy who was just standing there, he says, "You want to see some other location? You want to use railway tracks?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So he took me through these small lanes, typically like that movie of Ranveer, that Gully Boy, three small lanes. He took me through and took me to this amazing space where I could see these railway tracks and the trains were passing by. So I quickly did these couple of shots there before, and we were out of there in like 5 minutes. So that's where the XT3 really came handy to me, because it was literally, I was sitting on the tracks next to him and shooting this shot, So you have a large camera, you have a big crew, you have too many lights, then you can end up getting caught while doing the shot. So it's a really in and out kind of a quick shot which we did there. And I'll show you one more on the these also, this next 2-3 hour shot. All these also on the XT3 only. Just APS-C, but I mean, you can't tell. Like, see this picture. Again, shot on the.
This is the XT3 again.
XT3 again, yeah. Even this one.
Okay.
You see the colors, everything. It's stunning.
Yeah.
So here I used like multiple lights, because I've used a hair light as well. I've used lighting from the top, gave some bounce from the bottom as well. So it's overall very glamour. The lighting is very glamour, and I like to play with colors. And with I think photographers go through phases. Sometimes you feel everything looks great in black and white. Sometimes you feel like using just black background. Sometimes you feel like using white backgrounds, just gray background. Sometimes it's a pop of color. So it's a lot to do with how you feel that particular day, how you want to treat the shot. The same shot would have looked amazing also on a black or a gray background. So it's each photographer has his own vision of how he wants the picture to look. So I think it's important to have that thought and your concepts very clear from the to portray what's in your head. So accordingly you can even instruct the model, use your hand, put your hand on the waist, lift that leg up. So these are directions that I give the model. And and like I said, the music also plays a great importance, where it kind of makes her feel great about herself, and she's enjoying the movement. She's literally almost dancing and doing the shot. Yeah. And this one last one I'll show you of Abhishek again. This one again with the GFX only.
This is GFX.
GFX. So sometimes we did this. We lit up this shot initially with strobes, then just ended up using the modeling lamp just for I wanted the continuous light was kind of giving me this detail of this slightly better. So and we ended up just using that. So this shot, the setup took a lot of time, because to create that kind of the shafts of light, and to create those objects that are blocking the light, and the smoke, and all of us coughing away in the studio. So the setup took quite a lot of time. But the shot, with Abhishek, it always happens. It's crazy, but his and the image that we end up using is amongst the first 3 frames that we shoot. So while
I see. Okay.
We click. I think he's saying we got it. I said no, let's just do a few more. But we'll end up using the first 2 or first frame or the second frame or the third frame. It's just that he's so once he gets the shot, he knows we've got it, So, and I've known him again. He was junior to me in school, so we had that kind
Okay.
of bonding and connection since that time.
Well, he's an amazing actor. I really,
Yeah,
really love his
yeah.
I mean, Sarkar and Guru is so many
So another
amazing.
one outdoors again without any lights, uh, just use reflectors and just the backlight of the sunlight, early morning light.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting with animals, also now you have to be careful. Sometimes the strobes might,
Yeah.
freak them
Can
out a bit.
irritate them,
Yeah,
freak them out. Yeah.
you have to be a little bit careful when you're shooting with animals. I think it should be okay, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have one technical question. In fact, couple of them. One is so you've stopped. Can I take this thing off the screen? I mean, we know. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for that presentation and that explanation of how you approached each shot and how you lit and what kind of equipments that you used.
Right.
Now, I also used to. I mean, I don't have a GFX 100, but I used to use a medium format camera, which was pretty restrictive in terms of its usages, and it was awfully expensive too.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, probably because GFX 100 got launched last year, so I'm sure you also had an experience with a traditional medium format camera, a digital camera.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? I mean, how do you compare, shifting from that to this?
So I feel it, with the GFX, first of all, doesn't feel like a medium format camera. It just feels like a DSLR. I mean, it doesn't feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can literally move with it. You can literally, I mean, I would like to use it every day if I had to, but it's just that sometimes, it's easier to use a smaller, like a XT3, XT4 kind of a camera where, like I said, it's smaller, it's quicker, outdoor, faster, zoom lenses. There are various lot of advantages that I found with the XT3, XT4, and but honestly, GFX doesn't feel like a medium format to me. Although it has that kind of
Yeah,
quality,
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
the grip of it, the lenses, it comes in my hand very easily. So I mean, I find it very easy to use. Like you said, with the earlier medium format cameras, it was quite. You have to have a tripod. Used to have a used to have to be carrying a lot of gear to set up your medium format camera, and then I used to have the separate digital back that used to go onto it, and that used to connect. So there were a lot of restrictions. It used to be much slower. Focus used to be much
Very
slower.
slow.
Focus slower.
Yeah.
So what I find the advantage of, like, the focus points, it doesn't feel like a medium format camera. It feels like just another camera. It's just like a slightly larger DSLR kind
Yeah.
of feel to it, and it's much quicker to use. I'm
is.
sure it can be used for pretty much every kind of photography.
Oh, okay. So while we are at the equipments, Fujifilm India has a big promotion going on now. I like to quickly share with you some details about what is available now. So this is Fujifilm's promotion page. This is probably the best time to buy and own a Fuji. There are tons of offers available on almost all cameras. So please visit the Fujifilm promotion page. We will add the link to this particular page in the comments column so that you can go and visit. And if you have any questions about availability and where to buy, how to buy, or any things about comparing two models, if you have any dilemma, you can ask in the comments, and there are Fuji executives, marketing people waiting there to help you. You can also continue to connect with them even after this session is over. So look for the promotions. Like I said, this is probably the best time to buy Fuji. Okay, so we are now back with Dabboo. All right, so you shared your life, shared, how you reached where you've reached, and the kind of work that you do. I'm sure when you deal with all these great people, talented, amazingly popular, influential people, not every time it is, uptight and serious and stuff. I'm sure you also have had some funny incidents with them, very hilarious incidents, probably. Can you narrate a couple of them, please? Because it's very important to know.
So, I feel that every shoot, there's always a interesting take back for me. Always we are, like I said, because I've been doing it for so many years, 25 years. So whoever I'm shooting with becomes like, end up becoming a friend. To say, there's all these, whether you're shooting these portfolios or you're shooting these top actors, for them, they are not. So people always have this thing that actors have an attitude problem, actors have this. It's never like that. So people feel, I feel that a lot of people just badmouth people. So actor cannot be friend with every single person he meets. To say, it's not possible for him to become buddies with every single person or become friendly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's misinterpreted as a attitude problem. So I feel that, first of all, it takes a lot of time for them to trust people. People, and I think we've got into that space where they have become friends. And one thing I'll just say is that no one can turn back and say I've misused my relationship with any actor. I've always been more than fair with everybody. And there have been times where we've done shoots of these actresses in the film days as well, where suppose you're doing a really sexy picture, and when they see the results or they see the contact sheets or the transparencies, they say, "Oh God, this is too much. Can we not use this picture?" And till date, that picture has never come out. It's been 15 years, 18 years, so that the trust has kind of made us reach to a space where they, completely blindly trust you, So like I was shooting with Mr. Bachchan the first time, and I was so scared, because shooting the legend Mr. Bachchan, and Abhishek had fixed the shoot for me, and I had never met him, So I went to him, and he called me to his makeup room, and this was for my 2001 calendar shoot. I remember this, and and I went to him, and he went to the makeup room, and he said, "Choose what you want me to wear," with his accent and this heavy. So I couldn't believe it. I'm a kid of like 19, 20 years old, is walking into Mr. Bachchan's makeup room and going through his wardrobe and telling him what to wear. So I mean, things like this I've never forgotten. And then I was shooting with him. Then we started shooting. He loved the first shoot we did to him, and we went to London to do a shoot together for Filmfare magazine. And we were shooting, and I was loading film. And while loading the roll, I saw he was wearing a grey suit, and I saw a lovely silver color Jaguar car. So I said, "So can you go and stand next to that car?" So he said, "No." So
No.
I said, "Oh, okay. It's not mine. How can I just go and stand there?" So I said, "Okay." No. So I was loading my own film. I was loading the film, and I picked up the camera, and I loaded it, and I looked up, and I saw him standing next to the Jaguar. Exactly. Ready for the shot, So he was laughing and everything. So that's these moments are like something which you never forget. And then we did the shots next to the Jaguar, and it got quite windy there, So his hair started blowing. So I was scared to tell him that, put your hair back, because I don't know him so well, So I said, "Sir, your hair." Saying, "Why? Your hair doesn't fly in the wind." So I said, "Okay." I said, "He's on my case. He's going to, And then I took him to Leicester Square, and we walked around. Just he walks out of the car and walks out to the location, does a shot, and gets into the car, without any stress. I mean, made him walk on the streets of Paris. I made him walk on Leicester Square, the busiest Oxford Circus, the busiest places in London to get the whole London vibe. And he was totally chilled out about it, So, I mean, these are moments I've never, ever forgotten about, my whole career. And then I was shooting with Pooja Bhatt way back in '94, and we realized by chatting that we were kindergarten friends. We were in the same KG.
Okay.
Yeah, in the same kindergarten. And in her baby book, there's a picture of me holding hands with Pooja Bhatt under the Christmas tree.
Which you realized much later.
Much later, yeah. Wow. So that's been amazing. This whole 25 years has been, and been beautiful bonding. And this is like when you're shooting with Abhishek, you're shooting with all these people. Like the shots I showed you with Vicky Kaushal, after the shoot, he pulled me into the water with him. So we do some behind the scene pictures where I do the same thing what the actor is doing. So I've done some crazy things with these actors. When I make them do crazy things, they make me do crazy things back with them.
Wonderful. Hey, thank you very much for that sneak peek into your professional career and the way you share. Now I think it's a time to take.
There's loads we can talk about. The session can go on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, especially if you enjoy what you're doing, you cannot explain. I mean, you cannot ask a bank clerk or a bank manager to do the same. I don't think he can go on talking about his projects and stuff. I mean, only people, I would consider ourselves fortunate enough to do to be in a profession which we like.
Yeah, and I have my parents to thank for that, because those 3 years which they allowed me to, not do senior college and do it through college, let me, in 90s, photography wasn't like a career which people used to really choose. I mean, it was more like your doctor or your engineer. Where
absolutely
photography came in now into as a career option for people. In those days, for my parents to allow me to go and assist a photographer was like my friends couldn't believe it. My parents have allowed me to do it. So they thought I'm going to get into this whole fashion scene and the whole drinking and partying and that kind of zone. So but my parents were like, were really supportive in that matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask, I'm sure while I was, in my school, if someone asked me, what do you want to become? I would say, I want to become a pilot, things like that. But if you ask a current generation youngster, or probably photography is definitely up there along with the pilot, as a possible career choice. So thanks for people like you, to constantly inspire people. 2 million people, out of which 200 becomes a professional photographer. We have a ton of photographers then to talk about.
But just to add to that, in today's generation, to be honest, from the people I see who come to assist me also, they want to get into it just for the glamour of it. They don't want to get into for the craft or for the art of photography. They want to, and nobody, in today's date, I don't know anybody who will assist anyone for 4 years. People are very, very restless, and
they're restless.
In digital world has kind of made them, very everything they wanted quickly. So they click it, you can see the picture. For us, we've been very patient, and whatever I do during my shoot, my lighting, I try and achieve as much as possible on the set rather than depend too much on post work. And I feel the new generation is reversed. They feel that if the lighting turns out bad, we'll fix it in the post. So for me, it's the other way around. I feel that's the thing that people need to focus on. Try and do as much on set rather than depend too much on post work later.
I think we can start taking questions now. All right. So let the questions come in now. Okay. So there is Dave Roy. Let's take this questions first. I think you can read it in your screen in front, sir. How to improve our skill as photographer, and how can we reach there with limited resources?
So skills as a photographer, I'll just say one thing is that today, even if you go to a photography school, or for an actor who goes to an acting school, they cannot teach you acting. They cannot teach you photography. They'll teach you the technical bit. It's more about, for me, I think it's more about your vision. It's more about the your want to grow as a photographer, your want to tell a story within your picture, the and also the genre of photography that you choose is very, very important. For me, I chose to be a people photographer, but saying that, I can still light up and shoot a factory, I can still light up and shoot an industrial shoot or a car or wildlife or anything that I want to. But what I love is to deal with people, to talk to people, to make them look good, to make them feel good. So I chose to be a people photographer. So you should choose what genre inspires you the most, and if it's weddings, if it's, I mean, there's everything is, whatever you're good at, you should do that basically. Limited resources, like I said, most things are available on rental these days. I mean, when we started, we had to purchase everything, and initially most of the brands were not even available in India. So I had to actually fly down to Hong Kong sometimes, fly down to Dubai sometimes to pick up equipment. Now everything is available in India, So, and now everything is available at a rental place for hire. So I think that owning one camera with one or two lenses is important, because you can keep shooting, keep learning. But like I said, if you need specialized equipment, specialized lights, specialized cameras, you can hire that on a project basis.
Okay. A question to Dabboo sir from Aishwarya Diodhar. Which was your best and the most memorable shoot till date?
That's tough.
The shoot with Bachchan sir with Jaguar.
Yeah, I think more than that, the artist shoot was something which was memorable, because that picture of Sanjay Dutt is where my career got launched. So that is very special, and it's very memorable, because we were shooting. Actually, that picture which you mentioned of Sanju, was shot at a fishing trip. It was not even a part of the shoot. We went early morning one day for deep sea fishing, and while he was reeling out the fish, I have taken that picture from the upper deck. It's a candid shot, So having my camera there at with me was also thanks to Sanju, because I was scared to carry my camera, because I was thinking sea water, what if something happens to my camera? And he convinced me that if your camera gets wet or gets spoiled, I will buy you a new camera. So I had the guts to carry my camera and take that shot of Sanju. So that was a memorable shoot, and I can talk an hour just about that one shoot also. And I feel that for me, my calendars are something which is keeps getting better and better every year, and helps me to push myself. So I think my best shoot is to come in my 2021 calendar. It hasn't come yet.
Okay. The railway track shot that you showed about the model sitting down. Gautam Singh wants to know, which lens did you use for that?
I think it was my Zoom. I mean, I can't remember clearly right now. I can check it and put it in the messages later if you want. Gautam, if you in the comments, I'll put it later. I'll check the picture and tell you. But I think it was my tele Zoom, which I use. I can check. I'll definitely put it in the comments for you, Gautam, for sure.
Sure. This is one interesting question from Karthik Mohan. Sir, what is the best thing you do when you are totally out of ideas, but you still want to keep clicking?
So Karthik, what I do usually is that whenever I have an idea, when I have a concept, I write it down. I have a notes section in my Mac, on the notes section, where I keep adding ideas, where I even attach pictures of locations that I like. Like I said earlier, that if I like a restaurant, if I like when I'm driving on the road, if I find a nice location, I click it from my phone, and that becomes like a recce for me. And I keep attaching those pictures to that one large note that I feel. And if I feel I'm totally out of ideas, I go back to one of my concepts, to my ideas which I have written. And so I've been writing it down the years. So at any given point, I have 400-500 ideas written into that notes which I do. And as soon as I finish it, I tick it off, and I delete that part of the note. So that I don't repeat that idea again. So and remember one thing, that I mean, it's okay to get inspired by other photographers, but add your bit to it. Add your take to that, add your spin to that. There's to be a when I started out, I feel that in the 80s and early 90s, film stars were shot more in a very static way in a studio, over styled, very these big turbans and hairdos were like those big bouffants and everything. But when I started shooting the actors, I literally used to make them walk on the street, like how I showed you the railway track picture. I used to shoot them below their building, on the terrace of their building, and in the part of the house, window light, that kind of thing. And they were not used to that. Actors were not expecting. Actors were expecting that I'll come with a team of people with big lights and everything. I used to go alone. I used to literally go alone without an assistant, and used to use a thermocol sheet, or maximum use, some kind of a small reflector. That's it. And I used to use mostly natural light, and I didn't even own a studio in those days. So I feel that you can keep shooting at a location as opposed to a studio is something that inspires me to create something new. Because when I walk into any location, outdoors or indoors, I feel I use the elements that are available to me while I'm there. So if I see an interesting prop or a table or a statue, painting, something or the other will give me some thought to do something new, something different at that point.
Okay.
That's how I work. Like I said, it may not be a method, it may not be how the schools teach you, but also I like to add is that whenever you go to a photography school, definitely assist somebody for at least 1 year. I feel that work experience, what you learn on the job, like working with Sumit for those 4 years, taught me so much in terms of I met so many makeup people, I met so many hairdressers, models, and seeing them work, seeing their experience is something which you will never learn at a photography school. The stuff that you learn on the job is completely different, which will add to what you have learned from a photography school.
Studio Rajkumar is asking, will you recommend GFX for a wedding photographer?
I honestly haven't shot weddings, so I wouldn't really know. But I would say a GFX would work great if you're shooting wedding portraits of just the bride and the groom. But if you're shooting like people moving and function, and like if it's hectic and there's a whole band of photographers, then I would say I would go with the XT4 rather than the GFX. So GFX
XT4.
would work. Yeah, GFX would work great if you're in a little more controlled environment where you can really nicely make your block. You can, if you're shooting, pre-wedding, if you're shooting just the groom, just the bride and groom portraits and stuff like that, GFX will work amazing for that, because it works great with low light situations as well. I've used it with ambient light and it works amazingly well. So I honestly don't have too much experience with weddings, so I can't give 100%. You could probably help them with that. Rather, you can.
This is your session. So, well, unless you want to show off, unless you want to, kind of make, be completely different from the rest of your, the group or the people in your region, photographers in your region, and you want to surprise people, yes, go ahead if you have that kind of money. But XT4 and XT3 can do, everything that does need to be done in a wedding. That's you told me. So that's what my thing was. Like you said, if you have the money, I mean, you can buy a Ferrari and take it to buy vegetables every day. That's okay. That's up to you. So if you have the resources and you want to enjoy having the pride of owning, to certain people, an equipment is more like a pride of owning it. And if you enjoy it, why not? But otherwise, X-T3, X-T4 is more than sufficient for almost any kind of work. I mean, Dabboo shoots commercial assignments with it. So, he also, GFX and the GFX cameras are used very, very carefully whenever, the situation really demands. So that's, I think, should answer your question. Now, the question was, this is the Anshul, a young boy. I think he is in 12th standard. He's saying, never missed your live since your Fuji live on Insta. My question is how to start. It's you, huh? Now, my question is how to start photography after 12th. Should I join a photography institute or assist somebody at that time?
So, what my suggestion is that if you know your basics and you know about cameras and you know basics about lights, then you can assist a photographer. If you are absolutely have no idea about any technical information, then it's good to do some kind of a photography institute, because I'll be very honest, when I'm shooting or when I'm even taking on an assistant, I don't want someone perpetually asking me questions about basics, so I would prefer to have an assistant who knows his basics, so when I was working with Sumit, I used to make sure when he's in a good mood, I would used to ask him the questions, so you don't want to, when you're dealing with creative people, when you're dealing in this kind of hyperspace, you don't want to, don't dare ask questions in the middle of a shoot, I mean, there are a lot of other pressures that they're dealing with, so yeah, if you want to learn basics, then start with an institute and then assist a photographer. If you know your basics, you're good with your basics, you're confident, then you can straight away go and start assist a photographer.
Thank you. I'm sure you got the answer. Supriya Chakrabarti is asking, do you merge more than one picture? I mean, he's basically asking, do you compose it in post?
Very rarely. For my personal work, I I merge pictures. I usually brand campaigns jab hum shoot karte hain, that time, we are shooting on a white background where they cut out the picture and use brand colors and different backgrounds and different kind of graphics depending on what the concept is. But for my personal pictures, very rarely. I try and, like I said, I try and do as much as possible at the shoot itself. And only if it's some concept that demands कि मुझे करना है, मुझे कुछ fantasy concept है, कुछ अलग करना है, then we'll go ahead and change the background. Not very often.
Okay. Not very. I mean, in fact, you explained it in the beginning. You would rather do most of your work during the shoot rather than trying to depend too much in the post. So, I think it is purely because, you are from the film era where you had very little, or not this kind of options available. Now, think it, get it. We are in that kind of a situation. So you prefer to think and...
I feel that, the realism, when it's a cut paste picture, my eyes can see it. Yeah, means for me, I don't feel very comfortable. For me, only if I have to, then I will do it. If a particular actor is not available on a particular location and I have to do it, I will do it. But if you ask me, I mean, I would prefer to use a real background any day compared to a cut paste background.
Okay. So there is sorry. Will you do want to? Somebody was asking about lights. Here it is. I want to know about what types of light you prefer for indoor photography. Pixel Studio Photography is asking that question.
Yeah. So when I started my career, I started using Chrome lights, and
Okay.
then I made money, and I kind of when it paid for itself, I invested into Bowen lighting system.
Bowens,
And,
yeah.
and yeah, after Bowen's, when I after many years, I moved to Broncolor. So I've stuck with Broncolor since then, and I also have a brand called Breeze, which is a German
Oh,
brand.
you have Breeze. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. So which I bought. I'd gone to Photokina. From there, I went to Hamburg, and I got so tempted. I came back with a lot of Breeze equipment.
Wow.
So
That's like the Rolls Royce among
yeah,
lights.
it is
Yeah.
Rolls Royce of lights, and it's amazing lights, but very expensive. And the only problem with that is, if something goes wrong, you have to wait for the parts to come from Germany. So that's the
Oh, yeah.
only, literally the Rolls Royce of lighting. So Broncolor is a great camera, great lighting system. I've tried other brands as well, but somehow I like the quality, and I'm very used to Broncolor. I've been using my power pack of my Scoro power pack of Broncolor since what, 15 years now, 10, 12, 15 years, and
Yeah. They are
12, 14 years maybe.
like
It's
war
solid.
tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's been
solid.
working,
Yeah.
no problem. So for the people out there, if they're very expensive. Broncolor is very expensive. If you're shooting more than 15 days a month of paid assignments, then it's worth investing in a generator and your packs and your heads and everything. Otherwise, you can invest in monolights of Broncolor. They're also great quality. Uh, and if you don't want to invest even in that, again, those are available in rental very easily. Many rental, if you just search it on the web, now there are many rental companies in most cities that rent out Broncolor or Profoto equipment. Those are great if you're getting paid assignments. I mean to say, otherwise, Chrome, Godox, everything works well. I mean, like I said, don't think so much about the equipment and don't give it so much thought, because there's a 10-15% difference between brands that will make the difference. But what your concept and your framing, your composition, I think most important, if you ask me, is your lens quality. Your lenses, that should be your first investment. If you ask me, I think even camera bodies you can keep upgrading, but lenses,
Absolutely.
the sharpness, the clarity, that will make or break your picture. So focus on
Absolutely.
lighting technique and focus on your lens quality. Buy good quality lenses, buy fast lenses. I like f1, f1.2, 1.4, f2,
Absolutely.
whatever the fastest lens available, that I love. So focus on your lens quality, focus on your lighting techniques, and then think of other brands of lights and equipment and other things like that. That's my honest
I,
advice. Yeah.
Absolutely. Most of these expensive equipments are, in case if you want to use it for a paid assignment, they are available, like you said, for rent. You don't need to own it. But I would like to also take a small liberty in here in suggesting that Godox is a brilliant light, very effective. You get studio lights. You can get battery operated OCFs, very quality lights, which you can actually own. So you can actually make a big, start with those kind of light, and these because of sheer availability of technology, those large difference that there was between equipments are slowly disappearing.
So only the power pack, which are expensive, is your speed of the flash. With only in certain situations where you're shooting
Yes.
splashes, or you're shooting really something very fixed and definite where you require that, I would say invest in those heavy equipments. Otherwise, don't need to bother.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Especially during these where you can save money as possible.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Jenish has got this question. What's your current camera? What is in your bag? What's your gear now?
So whenever I go for any shoot, I am carrying my GFX 100 kit and my XT3 and XT4 now. I always have a backup camera kit with me. So that is something which I've learned, that if better to have, even if it's differences 100 megapixel and 26 megapixel, it doesn't matter as long as you have a backup. It's very important to have that. So with the GFX 100, I have a 3264, I have a 63 mm, I have a 120 mm, and I have a 250 mm. These are my lenses which I usually carry. Because this is medium format, it's the full frame conversion is obviously different for all the people watching out there. And with the XT3 and XT4, I have like 5-6 lenses from the 35 mm, 50 mm. I mean, various the zooms, the equivalent to a full frame. My go-to lens would be a 70 to 200 or 85 mm in terms of full frame for people watching out there. Yeah, so the conversion is different between my XT4 and between my GFX kit. So just to generalize it, yeah, for my as a full frame equivalent, I'd say my go-to lens now is between the 50 mm, 85 mm, and even the 105, 135 mm sometimes. So and it keeps changing.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying it's how I feel that particular day. Like today, when I go for a shoot now, literally I'm thinking in the car while I'm driving, आज कुछ नया करते हैं. Let's try. I've shot with this actor 1,000 times today. Let me try him with this lens, or let me try with this lens, or let me try with this lighting or this reflector. So I try to vary it every time I'm shooting, so I don't also get restricted and start repeating myself.
Yeah. Now you got the XT4, correct? I mean, you've started shooting. XT4 just came out during the lockdown, and you have the XT4 already.
Yes, sir.
A few words about the XT4 also, because I have it. I mean, in fact, I am now streaming using the XT4, so I can't, pull it out and show to our people. But I'm enjoying this camera. This is our, YouTube go-to camera. What about you? I mean, how are you liking it?
Honestly, I've just done one shoot with it since I got it. In fact, the day I received it, I was shooting somewhere, and I immediately, as soon as I got it, I left all my equipment. I said, "Jaldi, give me the XT4 right now." So I immediately used it. So I've honestly not had too much experience, but it feels really smooth. It feels fast. It feels, the stabilization feels great. And honestly, I haven't put it with too much test right now because I just got it a few days ago and I just started shooting with it. But it feels beautiful. I mean, for me, when I'm holding the camera and it gives me a good energy when I'm shooting. It's just a feel good.
No, it actually does. I have a couple of other favorites in Fuji. I have the XV100 and I have the X Pro 3 are my favorite ones when it comes to actually getting out and shooting, because I really love the form factor and the way it kind of invites you to shoot. The same boy the 12th standard boy who asked about how to go about things has come up with a very interesting question for you. He's thinking of buying an XT4, by the way. So he is not in your position. I don't think his aunt is lending that money. I think his aunt is not lending that money. Somebody is buying it for him. The XT4, is it good for fashion photography?
It's brilliant. I mean, I've just done one shoot with the XT4, like I said, and it was a fashion shoot itself. And which I don't have the images on me right now, but it was brilliant. I mean, to say, I was shooting in a completely overcast day, and I was using a strobe light outdoors as well, and it was fast. I mean, first thing I must say, I always shoot RAW. I never shoot JPEG, and it was, for me, it was shooting very fast. The buffering was, was superb. I had no problem with it, and I think it's brilliant. I feel that, like I said, if you don't have a camera, if it's your first camera body that you're buying, you don't think about full frame or crop sensor. It doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean to say, the quality looks great, the image looks great, and if your client is going to be happy, he's not going to ask you whether you shot it from a full frame or a crop sensor. As long as your sharpness is great, the quality of your lenses is good, you don't have to worry about it. That's my take onto it.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. So I hope you got the answer here. Very interesting question. In case if you have to go without any assistance and just one camera, what would you carry?
One camera.
Yeah. What camera and what gear would you carry if you have to go alone for a shoot without any assistance?
I'd still carry my GFX 100. Yeah. Because
it's actually very nice. Yeah.
Very easy to handle. And, I've, like I said, when I started off my career for the first 6-7 years, I didn't have an assistant. I literally used to set up my own lights, set up my own camera. I used to prefer, doing everything myself. I used to prefer not having disturbance in the shoot. So I literally used to just take sometimes one boy with me who was my, peon in the studio, peon in my house or my office. I used to just take him with me for the shoot, just to help unload the car and stuff like that. So I still take the GFX 100 with me. I mean, it's my go-to camera right now. I mean, I don't.
Your go-to.
I can't think of anything else right
now. Okay. What are they? So this is one question. One tip, a quick tip for portrait shoot, Dabboo sir. By the way, the 51.0 is
it's coming.
launched. No? It's like it's coming. It's mouth-watering. I mean, looking at the whole.
I hope everybody. I want it as soon as it comes.
No, I had this fortune. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to travel to Japan to visit a Fuji factory where they make lenses, and the kind of, I mean, we even made a video on that. These days, it's very difficult to find lenses made with metal. Most of these, everybody has changed to resins and recyclable materials and stuff like that, and Fuji still makes in this good old-fashioned metal. Lenses, they're built to last, and I really love the way they feel in your hand. It's for me, it is very cultural. The whole design, the whole, the whole concept itself was, for me, I really vibe with it culturally. From coming from a film era.
Right. So, a quick tip about a portrait shoot is that, for me, more than anything, it is to first of all to make the model feel good about themselves. They need to feel, whether you're shooting a business tycoon, whether you're shooting a sports personality, you're shooting a newcomer, you're shooting an actor, doesn't matter. You need to make them feel great about themselves. You need to have that communication. If you're a people photographer, you have to talk to your subject. You have to tell them what's your thought in that concept, what's your idea, what do you want to do. So it's important to you to communicate, and as long as you have a vision of, so sometimes I'll give an example. I recently went to Delhi to do a few months ago went to Delhi to do a portrait of somebody, and they had this amazing lavish house and everything, and I chose the most simplest corner in the basement, where I found that the house is so opulent that it's going to take away from my portrait. So I literally have shot sometimes on a plain white wall or a simple non-bothering painting as a background to make my portrait work. And I gave them the vibe, and I gave them the energy, played the music, and I spoke to them while shooting, giving them instructions, do this, do this, do this. And they also enjoy it, So, and you get your mood, you get your shot. And remember to keep clicking, even while you're talking, even while, in midst of shots, you may get a great portrait, So sometimes you have to make them feel comfortable, especially people when they are not models or not actors. You have to, create a vibe I think that's the most important thing about shooting people or shooting portraits of people is the energy and the vibe that you create in the picture.
Wonderful.
I don't know whether
So,
Devashish-
Devashish, I hope you got your answer. Okay,
unless
I
you're
have a
expecting some
very
technical answer, I don't know. But I mean, this was more about the mood and
yeah,
more
yeah,
about the
absolutely,
moment of the
absolutely.
shoot. Yeah.
I think as a photographer, I think that's the best answer you could have provided to him. So here this is one question for which we need to also give him a solution. He's saying, I have a Fuji X-T3 and I work for it for wedding cinematography. It gives me amazing quality. The only bad review is that its battery life is less. Well, obviously you don't shoot too much videos with it. I do a lot of videos.
Yeah, so you can tell him.
Well, so I thought I'll take this opportunity and liberty to kind of tell him
please.
that. So first thing that any camera for that matter comes with a battery, right? You have to, know how much, they even in advance tell you how much you can get out of that battery in one full charge, how many stills you can take or how much of video you can create, correct? So you know it already. When do you really lose the or rather waste your battery is in previewing, unnecessarily previewing, or trying to do too many rehearsals. Okay, so I would say that you must definitely have a backup battery because you are doing a professional job, and avoid reviewing. Review is the time you lose majority of your battery. Another thing that you can do in videography is also to the focusing has different modes. Depending on how you're shooting, you can set your focus tracking modes to maximize the battery. Okay, you dive deep into the menu, you will know what I mean. Also, the camera has two modes: power booster mode and economy mode. If you're feeling that you're draining battery, switch to economy, and it will slow down. So you need to work accordingly. You need to adapt accordingly. So these are the ways in which we can conserve battery. Okay, there is no shortcut for any camera for that matter. Battery comes with it's not a surprise, right? You know how much it will work for. So I think you should be wary of that. You should know, as a technician, as a craftsman, an artist, you should know what the equipment is capable of delivering. Okay.
Well, while I'm shooting, we always have the other battery charging. Even if it's 100%, it's left on the charger. If I feel that it's going to be a long day of shoot, we always have backup batteries charged and ready, waiting. So say I don't take a chance with that. When I'm using the GFX also, we have the spare battery on the charger while the shoot is going on. You never know if it's going to be a long shoot. If battery runs out,
absolutely,
you shouldn't be wasting your time there.
And if you're very often coming across that as a problem, why don't you think of getting a power pack? Because X-T4 anyway is a small camera. Adding one power pack is not going to really tax anything in any way. So you get, double, triple the power that is required. So I think you should consider, buying a power pack, battery pack as an option.
I would do that. I would definitely do that if I had that issue.
Exactly.
The battery grip would be a great idea.
Yeah. So there are questions are coming, guys. You guys wants to have dinner? It's coming. Well, keep it coming. As long as Dabboo's here, I'm also going to be here and asking you the questions. The moment he gives me a signal saying that, look, I need to go, I'll also request you to probably stop.
We can take two more questions, no problem.
Two more questions. Okay, so you heard I can take two more questions now. Okay, so this is an interesting question from Rebecca Bakshi. She's asking, all of us have bad days. Sir, what do you do when you are not in a mood or mindset to click when you are not happy with the results? How do you motivate yourself?
I don't know whether it's just me, but when I'm shooting, I'm never having a bad day. For me, when I'm shooting, I mean, I can forget to eat lunch also when I'm shooting. So for me, it's shooting really gives me that happiness, that kick, that gives me that high, and especially with a shoot which is not just a catalog shoot, it's something where I'm doing something creative, where I'm doing something experimental. I just keep myself going. But for a person who's not in the mood, or not being happy, you need to see, either way. You either, in the past, it's happened where my model who I was shooting was not in the mood, was feeling really, really uh, upset about something. So I said, when she came into the studio, we asked her that, she told me that, first she called me to the makeup room and said, I've had a really bad day and this happened. So I said, no stress, we can cancel the shoot. I mean, I'm totally cool with it. So I said, anyway, since you're here, why don't we? It's almost lunchtime. Let's order some lunch. So she came, and we ordered some great food. But then she started eating this, that. She said, "Oh, I'm feeling much better. Let's get into makeup. Let's shoot." So
Dopamine.
we just take a small break and restart it. And if there has been maybe in these so many years, there's been one day I can clearly remember where I canceled the shoot and I sent the model back and we shot it another day because things just didn't work. So if it's really reaches that stage, then we have canceled the shoot once. But usually, I think it's all about energy. It's about feeling good. It's about it's contagious energy. You need to feel great about yourself. Your models feel great about yourself. Listen to some great music, and if really nothing's working, then you may need to reschedule the shoot. I'll tell you one incident. I flew to Chennai for a shoot, and while I was on the flight, I had while I got into the flight, by the time I landed into Chennai, I had 103 temperature, and it was a night shoot, and I was shivering, means I had chills, and I still shot because those actors were available only that particular day.
Only for that day.
So I shot through the night and I was literally holding blankets on myself, and with chills I shot because I did not want to waste the day, and just because of a fever.
Missed that opportunity too.
I just pushed through that night somehow, and then took my medicines. I managed. So it's all about how it's all internal. You just need to feel great.
Okay, I think this is probably the last question. Again about XT4. He's saying, hello. How are you? She's getting impatient. one dada for dinner, huh? All right. Okay. So question for both of you. Thinking of an XT4 for fashion photography, and it's coming at the same price of a full frame. So my question is, does crop sensor matters vis-a-vis full frame?
For me, it's made no difference, but like I said, I've been using the crop sensor since over a year now. I've been shooting ad campaigns, I've been shooting magazine work with it, and absolutely no difference in quality. No one has ever come to me and said that the results have not been up to the mark. But to be honest, Radha, I always have a backup of a GFX 100. So I would ask you, because since you are a little more with the technical bit, what would you say?
Yeah. So I have used all sizes, from the medium format to the so-called large format to the full frame to APS-C, and also Micro Four Third. In fact, full frame is a digital. It's a word coined by the digital people. It never existed. There is nothing called full frame, right? Full frame is something which some marketeer, probably to me, a good smart marketing man, invented it, and ever since people think that, oh, if I'm not getting full, then I am being, I'm being shortchanged. Technology has reached a level where, from a same so-called full frame, you can get 12 frames, 12 megapixels, or 90 megapixels, or probably 80 megapixels. But you are not getting a bigger sensor, right? You are getting, its sensor size is exactly the same. You are not getting more chocolate out of a chocolate bar if you increase the number of, the pieces in it. Correct? The size of the chocolate is exactly the same, but you're actually complicating in various other places. The difference between an APS-C to a so-called full frame is not much. If you really want to see qualitative jump, then you should move to the next level altogether, which is a different format altogether. When it comes to video, I can actually argue, and probably to prove also, I can actually confirm to you that APS-C is the format it's the best format to shoot video. It's not full frame. It is. The marketing point for a full frame was, let's say, camera is big, so you should go mirrorless because you're getting a small camera. Now, what is happening? The camera has become small, but the lenses have become, extra large. So you have not technically lost any weight. The current generation full frame cameras are as big as a, DSLR camera. So I think it's a block in your head. Well, a mobile phone these days boasts of 108 megapixels. Are you getting a better picture out of it? No. 4 megapixel iPhone S4S, people used to shoot art photography. I've read about photographers who sells their prints for $5,000. The image came out of a 4 megapixel iPhone 4S. Okay, so what we are trying to do is to give too much importance to the equipments that you're using, not exactly what you're using for. In your case, you're very clear. This is my campaign. I was using a rather limiting medium format camera. Currently, I have a camera which is highly maneuverable. It is the same form factor as my 35mm camera. It's got more features, and it's got the same resolution. It's a very logical decision, and plus it costs probably 1/3 the cost of a full, the so-called medium format camera. So you have, that's a logical decision. Similarly, full frame too. I'm not saying full frame is bad, but is it the must-have? I don't think so. No. Now, if somebody says, yes, my X-T4 is as expensive as a full-frame camera, it's entirely up to you. I cannot convince you, nor I want to convince you to, go and buy a APS-C. But you should weigh the pros and cons, okay, of what you want to do, and what are the advantages of having a certain form factor, certain kind of build quality at a price. And, of course, the lenses. So these are the things that I would, look for in a camera. Not exactly the frame. Yes, there was a time where size mattered, but not any longer. People have started shooting with mobile phones. People have started creating commercial videos with mobile phones, action cameras, things like that. So I think you should actually take it in your hand, go to your nearest dealer, ask for a demo, take it in your hand, take some shots, compare it. Then, it's like getting into a marriage. I probably cannot tell you get married with so-and-so and not so-and-so because probably, for whatever physical characteristic the person has. No, you need to figure it out. But I can tell you that the days where a Micro Four Third or a APS-C or the full frame, the so-called full frame, were making too much of a difference, those days are gone, are over rather.
Yeah. So
If you shoot, yeah.
I really moved to digital photography when it touched 22 megapixel. I mean, at that point, I said, okay, I think it's surpassing film. I feel that it's equivalent to film, and now I can move to digital. So when you're getting a 26 megapixel and you're getting these quality of images from the X-T4, I don't think it's any compromise in any way, basically.
Yeah. I need to just clarify one doubt, one remark which Rajiv Kumar said. It's silly to call full frame cameras marketing gimmicks. Dear friend, I did not do it. I said full frame is a word which is coined by a smart man. Full frame is just gives you a feeling that it is full, but it is just another frame. Correct? It is not the end of anything. I am here not trying to sell anything. I have no reason to sell anything. I am not a Fuji man. I'm not here to sell Fuji cameras either. I'm here to, talk to. I have a interesting conversation with Dabboo here, and incidentally talking cameras too. So I just expressed my opinion. It is. I am not again. I have half a dozen, full frame DSLRs in my studio. I still use it. I am saying, what I am trying to say is that the days where those used to make a whole lot of difference are no longer, it's not true anymore. So you should know that. That's all I wanted to say. I am not trying to say or sell anything here. Sorry. Okay. So I think, questions are still coming in. I think sure. Probably, Fuji people and you, and if there are questions aimed at me, we will go to the comments and answer later. And I must definitely thank you. I must definitely tell you that Dabboo, the contacts that you have or the kind of networking that you do, it did not come as an accident. I think it was a design. You always were supposed to be a photographer. I think that's why everything, you actually came right in the middle. And I think if it's possible for you, I'm sure it is possible for you, because it is the intensity of your want to become something.
Yeah, just to add to that, means I didn't have any film background as such. My dad used to be a Bombay dyeing shop owner. My grandparents were lawyers. So there was absolutely no connection to the film industry. It's about your want to network, your want to connect two things together, your thing, how you take it forward, So when people say that, it doesn't mean that my kids are going to become photographers. My kids can choose whatever they want to do. Yeah. They have taken to photography. They love what I do, so they enjoy it as well. But I'm not going to force them to become a photographer. So similarly, I feel when you love something, when you give it an honest shot, you can make it. And for people out there who are trying to make it into the photography business, remember something, that you have to make a signature style of yourself, of your photography. You have to have some language of your photography that people appreciate. You cannot just do routine work and imagine that people will notice you. You have to do radically something new, something different, create some style of your own that people want to hire you for a job. If you just replicate someone else's work, you're not just going to get work. So there is a lot of planning that you need to put into your career. There's a lot of planning that you need to put into your shoots, and make every shoot special, evolve. Look at your previous work and see, how can I improve? How can I do this better? Only then you will see a marked improvement in your work, and I think that's the only way to evolve and to go forward in your career.
Thank you very much. And I must also, I must end. I'd like to end this conversation by saying I've seen you a great family man too. Your wife works with you on assignments. I just saw your daughter. She wants to come and be a part of the conversation. It was amazing. So, would you like to talk a little bit about your family too?
Yeah, I think the support of family has been something which has been right from the beginning of my career. Like I said, my mom helped me with my first camera. My parents supported me through a career which was very different in those days. Photography, like I said, wasn't something. So I feel that keeping the family happy, being bonded with the family is something which has come to me very naturally. I actually shifted my studio 2 years ago closer to home so I can spend more time with the family. Because, I feel that, these are the years that the kids are small. So very often when I'm working in the studio, they used to come back from school, get changed and then come and hang out with me at the studio. So I don't want to miss those moments of them growing
Absolutely.
up. So
I must say you are really blessed and you're lucky. I'm all the best to your family, and I also have to quickly mention that we are going through difficult times. COVID has really engulfed. I don't know. Everybody is going through real difficult times. I'd like to send a quick prayer out to a friend of mine who's a friend of ours, a very active community member, Jesse Oberoi. He's unwell. He had to be shifted last evening to the hospital, and he is feeling a little bit of breath problem, and he needed blood in the evening. So I hear that he got it. So I'd like to use this platform to kind of send a lot of positive energy to him.
Absolutely.
Hope he gets back, home. He's been at it every evening. He used to be doing live photography, and photography is his life. So I like to send out, a word of prayer for Jesse sirs. He will be back. He's a fighter, so he'll be back in the studio very soon. And but Dabboo, thank you very much for talking to us. It's more than. Oh my God, it's good 2 hours now. Wonderful. I didn't realize that 2 hours just, went by. Everyone stayed. Wonderful. Thank you very much, viewers, for being with us. And thank you, FujiFilm India, for offering this great opportunity for me as an individual, as a photographer, as someone who, well, I don't know, and I'll go hungry if it was not photography. So I don't know anyone else. So anything else rather to do. So yeah, thank you very much. Today is really exciting day for me. Thank you very much. So I think I will give the mic to you now. Probably you can wind up the show, and then we will end the broadcast. So once again, people, this is probably the best time to catch a good deal or a good offer from FujiFilm. And this session will be live, available on FujiFilm's page. So please, someone who's missed it can watch it there. And also questions, we will try to answer any questions that we have missed. It's possible that we may have missed questions. We will try and answer them as much as possible. And any technical queries, marketing queries, you can reach out to the Fuji India team. And thank you very much once again. Anwar Thanawala, he's amazing. He's usually there every time. I also saw one of our mentors, Ranjan Sharma, who wants to talk about the film simulations which are available, which is a unique feature in the Fuji cameras, because if you're shooting JPEGs, the images are ready to be used. Okay, so I missed that that particular comment. Thank you, Ranjan sir, for reminding about that talking point. So thank you once again, everyone. Have a great day. COVID is still around. Be very careful. It's not yet time to be it's not yet time to be adventurous. Be responsible. Take care of yourself. Take care of people at home. Use this time. I'm sure we all have extra time now these days with us. So use that time to enrich yourself, enrich physically, mentally, spiritually, in all possible ways you can. Stay safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dabboo.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dabboo. Thank you, FujiFilm India, and thank you, everyone. Bye for now.